Hey, Tony Gas is here, popping in now. Buckle up, get your pen and pad. We're gonna have us a good talk about something that's really buzzing around today, and it's been around for some time now. And today, our sponsor from the Academy, Birth Your Book, we have Joanne Patterson and her book titled Easy to Love. Easy to Love. I'm going to put the link in the description. If you have it in your bank account, go support her, because one thing I want to reinforce is those who take that extra step, birth their book, get it out there to the world. And we got a few more that have sponsored a video, and I offer that only to those people who have taken the Birth Your Book course. It is 10 lessons gathered along the road to healing. So I'm going to put the Amazon link in the description, published by Indigo Ink Publishing. Debbie is her first name. Y'all make sure, if you got it, sow a seed, be a blessing. Now, today we're talking about the boss woman. And I don't know what term that you have for it. That's what I've been hearing, the boss woman. And it could mean a lot of different things. I'm not sure, but that's what we're hearing. And so, y'all give me 1 second, get my watch set up here. Because here's the thing. I have heard a lot of men say that they don't want the boss woman, that they're not interested in that. It's not attractive to them. It's not feminine to them. It doesn't match with their masculinity. And then there are men who that is what they require. That's what they're attracted to. That's what they're looking at. And for women, I've seen both sides. I've seen women who do not want to work because they want to be home, be with the kids, be able to manage the whole household. And there are women who are deathly afraid of being a housewife, and they gotta have a job, gotta have a career, gotta have their own money. And then there's women on both sides who feel like the grass is greener, or they want a little bit of both. So we see it across the board. And I want to help you understand this now. And we're gonna just talk through this, and we're gonna look at where it comes from. And the idea here is to get to the root. To get to the root of this woman and who she is, where she's operating from. So if you're that woman, you should be able to see yourself in this discussion somewhere. And if you're a man, you should be able to identify and kind of see where you fit in here, and or how this woman could be in your life. Now, when you think about this thing, the boss woman, this wasn't really a thing back in the day because women didn't have a lot of rights. Women didn't get a lot of respect. And you don't want to go way back to Bible days, and it was totally different. But if we're talking about here in America, there was a period in America where women couldn't vote. Women just didn't have a voice. They didn't have a lot of rights. They didn't have control over their body. They were literally still just a helpmeet. They were just a helpmeet. And if a woman worked, it was, little jobs, not jobs of influence, not jobs of power. And of course, there will always be some exceptions to the rule. And somebody like, CJ Madam Walker, is that what the name was? Becoming a millionaire, but that wasn't the norm at all. And here's the thing. Couples were together longer. They got together for stability, for the family, to push society forward. It wasn't just about love. It wasn't about the idea of love, about a fantasy. Couples came together because they say, we need to win in this world. Our race needs some stability. We need to advance. We need some sense of identity or power or what have you. And in every race, that's why men and women came together. and did everything in their power to stay together. And for that to happen, it's like, hey, we're having kids, but back in the day, it was 3, 4, 5, 6 kids, probably 3 kids on average if you could do it. And that's a lot of work. And having a nanny, it's not affordable for everybody. Having a chef, having a housemaid, it's not affordable, but for certain families. So the woman really needed to be home versus being gone 8 hours a day or 5 hours a day and making 5 cents an hour. And so the woman was home and the man was providing, and there was a budget, and that's what you lived inside of that man's income. That man's income is what you lived out of. And there are going to be differences, of course, from culture to culture and demographic, socioeconomic, demographics. But on average, that is what you saw happening. And from that, a lot came. So you have to look at a man. If a man is working and he's breaking his back, working his finger to the bone, that man is going to be tired, frustrated, angry, upset. So what's going to happen is you're going to have a man who he's going to come home and he may just lay down on the floor in the front room and do nothing the rest of the day. He may go just dive into bed, have dinner brought to him. He may come home and start drinking heavily. He may come home and want to go mess with his side woman, go deal with his other family. He may come home and go off and just snap. So now you're going to see women become more and more in an oppressed state because of the man's frustration or anger and his vices and whatever pain he's dealing with in his life from his upbringing, from his father being abusive or toxic or what have you. And so now this woman she's just at the mercy of this man because she has to stay. She has to tough it out. The bills got to be paid. And as time changed, women became needed in the workplace. Women became needed in the workplace because the world is growing. We're industrializing. We're adding more companies and more jobs. And certain jobs men aren't good at. Certain jobs, certain things men just weren't good at. And so a woman, more attention to detail, from being home and women being home and having to check every box and having to organize and do inventory in the house for how many pieces of bread we got left for our lunch or our dinner, how much soap we got, how much laundry soap, how many clothes got to be washed. A woman was organizing and managing before that was a thing, before a company really understood what a manager or a supervisor was. A woman was a manager and a supervisor of the home. And she doing this with household goods, household items, and just schedules and what's going on. And so now when the workplace changes and it goes from women being, maids and nannies to being in the office as an executive assistant and taking up different admin roles in the schools and on the different companies, now the value and the skill of a woman starts to show. Now it starts to show. And so now this woman has some money. She's not being paid equally to the man, but she has some money. So then there comes a time where the woman says, listen, you getting drunk every day and you putting hands on me. Now you putting hands on our son or our daughter. I got a job because I had to get a job because your income wasn't enough. We going through inflation, price of goods is higher, life costs more to live. They letting women work. Had to go get me a job, got a job, but guess what? I might not be able to afford all these bills, but I can afford the bills at that little place around the corner. And I'm gonna go do that. So now women starting to leave these men. Men starting to leave their woman. It's more opportunities, more options, it's different women. It's a bunch of single women. It's all these single women, but then it's not enough men to go around. So now man got this woman. He got a family over here. Got a whole second family. A lot of men started having a whole second family. Everyday average men, not just politicians and pastors and principals of the school. Everyday men with normal blue collar jobs started having a second family because there was a plethora of single women, and who just more women, more girls being born than boys at certain times, or maybe there could have been more boys, but the boys, now the prison system taking them, not a gang life taking them, not a crack in the 80s or what have you taking them. So now it's more women without a man. Now guys got 2 women, 2 families. And the woman who first family, sometimes she find out she's gonna leave. Some women stayed and they never knew about the second family. Some knew and stayed still. But nonetheless, women starting to work. Women starting to work, women starting to prove themselves, women starting to get some respect in the workplace, start to climb the ladder, not being paid equally to men, but being paid enough to live. So now the woman got this job, and the next thing you know, relationships start breaking down more. Relationship starts breaking down more because as men, a lot of us, of course not every man, and I get so tired of people taking an example and thinking it's about every single person. It's like, duh. It's like, it's like, how do you people think that somebody talking and literally think that we talking about every single person? It's like, that's common sense that it's not everybody. Oh, don't use generalizations. You got to. You're having a conversation. You can't say 1,100,797,645.97 of men are this way. It's like, that's the general consensus. So y'all understand that. Y'all, we have some folks in this here world. Listen to them. So now women, they getting money, and more relationships breaking down because most men use money as control. And the reason why it's most men, the reason why I know it's most men is because I know I'm a good man. And I know I got a good head on my shoulder. And I have been guilty of that. And not about control in the sense of not just control, but more so like power. More so my way or the highway. More so I make the money. I get to call the final shots because I make the money. And that's how a lot of men look at it and think it's because of money and not just because of God's gift to the man to be the leader. God's instruction to the man to be the leader. So this is God-given, not money earned. And that's where we fail at as men. We forget that we the head of the household because God said we the head of the household, not because we earn more money or not because we earn money. But yes, you have to earn. Yes, even in the Bible say you got to earn, that a man have to provide. But we are made the head of the household by God, not by how much money we earn. But when men start making money, it starts to build us up, and we think more of ourselves the more money we make. And if a woman making less or she's not making any, you subconsciously or sometimes consciously think that she shouldn't have as much of a voice, as much say so, as much respect or what have you. And we'll look down, we'll talk down, we'll disrespect. And this ain't something foreign. I'm not the only person that done lived that. And that's what I'm trying to get these men to understand who be arguing. Oh, stop generalizing. Oh, that ain't me. I definitely don't do that. Yeah, in the comments. But let's hear from your woman and see how she feel. Because guess what? When I was doing it, I ain't know I was doing it. Until my wife let me know what it looked like and what it feel like. Then I'm like, whoa. So guess what? Now the woman, she's like, hey, I got money. I'm finna leave. So she leaves. It's a prison sentence now for putting your hands on her. the woman getting rights. Now the woman can vote, a woman can work, a woman can climb the ladder. A man, you put hands on your woman, you going to jail. Now things to change. Now it's starting to be more protection for a woman. And you know why it's more protection for a woman? Because now it becomes more valuable. It becomes more valuable for society to protect a woman. And yes, it ain't all equal and it ain't all the protection that every woman may say she deserves, but it becomes more protection because now, guess what society wants? Society wants that woman to take her money and to come spend it all. Come spend it all in our stores because, and we want you to go work now. So now it's women's empowerment. Now it's the woman with the hand up like this right here flexing. Now, and with the bandana on. Now we want to empower our women because we want you to get out of that house and we want you to come work, because when you come work, now your job got to pay you money. They're going to have to pay us employer taxes, employee taxes. You're going to get paid. You got to pay taxes. Now you're going to spend your money. So when you go spend your money at the grocery store, you paying taxes on your groceries. So you paying taxes on your money that you earn. You paying taxes at the grocery store. The grocery store, not only are you paying taxes, but the grocery store taking your money and they paying taxes on their earnings. So yeah, we got all of y'all. Yeah, come on out here and work and empower. And so now it's man versus woman. The media start to do that. The society starts to do that. The powers that be start to write movies that puts man versus woman. And it's the woman welling up and the woman saying, hey, I could do whatever you could do. I could do whatever you could do. So now where men was playing sports, women say we want to play those same sports. We want to play basketball. We want to play baseball. We'll call it softball. We want to play soccer. We want to play golf. We want to play tennis. So whatever y'all doing, we'll do it in our version, except for football. But it's women who play football too. They started making tackle football leagues for women. And it was this thing about equality. So here comes this movement of equality. And now, but what it does, there's a through line of competition, man versus woman. Now, the Bible says the woman is the weaker vessel. But this is what you have to understand. It does not say the weaker person. It is not talking about the weaker minded. It said a weaker vessel. A vessel is the body. Means her body is not as strong as a man's body. Meaning she cannot lift on average, as much as a man. She's not as muscular as a man. A man has more muscle mass than a woman on average. There are exceptions to the rule, but on average, a man is stronger. I remember telling my wife, and there's a thing, there is a delusion that some women have. Now, here's the thing. Some women have a right to have it. Because I saw a girl in middle school, go toe-to-toe with my cousin, and my cousin was not soft. He is a guy. She a woman. So, and they got in a fight in the cafeteria, and she went toe-to-toe, and I honestly, I go to the woman, because she's not supposed to be able to whoop no man. But that fight was good. You hear me? Them licks was going. And that's where I come from. Women fight men. And so some women, rightfully so, feel like they could whoop a man, and it's because they can, because of how they was raised. But that is very rare. That's like literally 1 out of 1,000. And I remember one time being at a soccer game, and my wife got rowdy and the man got rowdy, and I'm like, babe, calm down. You know what I'm saying? Calm down, because this man, he over here talking back to you, you talking back to him. She was like, no, I'm ready to fight. I had to tell her later, like, listen, I don't know what this is, what kind of media this is. Listen, you can't whoop. It probably 5 men in the world that you could whoop. And I'm just telling you, the difference between a man and a woman is a huge difference. I'm like, ladies, please don't let the media have you bowing up and jumping up in no man's face. Because you got to realize, do you see Manny Pacquiao? Manny Pacquiao like 5'5". I want women to understand that a man who is 4'11", like Kevin Hart, he's strong. He is strong. That man got muscles. If Kevin Hart hit you with a left hook, it is going to end you. It literally could end your life. So don't think that because a man is little, because he's skinny, that he weak. No, men have a different kind of strength because of what God built a man to do in the world, against animals, against other countries, for his territory, for his hunting and gathering, for his tilling the field, for his sowing and reaping, bringing in the harvest. God built the man to have strength and muscles. So that's what we got to understand. But what happened is it started to become this delusional thing to where women was like, I could do everything a man can do. And that's not true. That's not, God didn't make us that way. Just like a man cannot do everything a woman can do. And so that's a futile argument that men and women have been arguing for too long now. And we really need to understand our strengths and our gifts as separate genders and then come together and work together instead of competing against each other. But this is what happened. And so what happens now is the society even start to push this boss woman movement and starts to, okay, divorce is legal. You can get a divorce. So now your man, if he has that second family, divorce him. If he is yelling and screaming, divorce him. If he putting hands on you, divorce him. If he even cheat on you and he don't create a second family, but he cheated, divorce him. If he lose his job, divorce him. If you start making more than him, divorce him. If you start working, period, and you just tired of him and he ain't pleasing you in the bed, divorce him. So now divorce became an out for any and everything. And men filing divorce, women filing divorce, or the woman want a divorce and the man files for the divorce to beat her to it so he's not embarrassing the community. But men really don't like change. Men don't really, that's why the term creatures of habit exists, because men don't really like change. So a man will probably never divorce a woman unless he is really, really forced to divorce that woman by just their chemistry, or that woman herself, or it's because of another woman and he sees and already has his hands on his quote unquote upgrade. That's typically when a man will get a divorce. But if a woman is willing to be cheated on, or willing to be cursed out, willing to be dogged out, a man will typically just keep that woman as his wife and then do something different. Oh, here, go right there. Oh, they right there. I was looking for the other books that's sponsored and couldn't. There they go right there. Lord, I thank you. What in the world? I need to clean up this desk. Lord, I got to clean this desk up. Y'all remember, make sure you get easy to love now. Make sure you get easy to love. I'm going to put the link in the description. Lord willing, if I forget, remind me, so I go ahead and put it in there. And so now here we have this movement. And then guess what? More and more starts to happen in the world. The world needs more. Women are needed in the workplace. And now you start to see women climb the ladder. Women start to, there's companies, there's a need for companies. They say, oh, we got this kind of business that we need. This is in a woman's wheelhouse. This is a woman's strength. So women starts to become business owners, not just executive assistants anymore in the office, not just office assistants, executive assistants. Speaking of, I'm looking for one in person. So if you in, the Tampa Bay area and on that pay grade or executive assistant, around 30K, then let me know if you know somebody in the area. Soon, probably a few months out, maybe, because I need to get my office redone. And so now women, not just executive assistants and office assistants, now these women, and when I say that, I don't mean just a woman. It could be a man. It could be a man too. So don't think I'm just saying that's a woman's job. Now, it could be a man that could do that too. And women starting to grow. So, hey, you're doing great as this office assistant. What about working as a regular associate? Okay, you're doing great. What about being a manager over this department? Okay, great. Supervisor. Okay, great. Superintendent, whatever higher than that. Okay, now this woman got enough money. So if she doesn't get married, she don't got a man. If she doesn't have a man, she might not want to be lying down with a man unprotected to have a child. So now she doesn't have a man, so she making money, and she doesn't have kids to spend her money on. She doesn't have a man to spend her money on. So she's able to take all of her money and save a lot of her money. She could help her mama, her daddy, her sister, whoever. But if they got a job and she doesn't have to do that, now this woman has money that she can save. So she gets into a place to where, guess what? The system needs her. The system needs her money because the banks, they want to give her a loan too, because they know her personality, the way a woman is. They know this woman is going to pay her bills and she's going to pay on time. So now they give this woman a loan for a condo, a townhouse, a house, a car. So here you have it. Now women, they driving, women growing in the society. So this is what happens. She has her own money. She has her money. She gets a house. She has a car. And she has a good paying job. But she does not have a man to spend money on. She does not have kids to spend money on. And that right there becomes the boss woman. That becomes the boss woman. And she becomes a boss woman because she is doing better than a lot of men. And it's not just that she's doing better than a lot of men because she's better than them. It's also because she's doing better than a lot of men because a lot of men are canceling themselves out because of alcoholism, because of drug use, because of their ego, their attitude. So they keep getting fired, can't keep a job because of their irresponsibility and their spending habits, buying too many toys, doing too much because of taking care of a second family. So this woman who doesn't have a husband, who doesn't have kids, per capita, dollar for dollar, she's doing better than 50% of men. And the man may make more than her, but he's broker than her because he's got to take care of his wife and his kids. And there's not really a lot of single men in her same position in that time when this first started to happen. And now there's more single men, of course. But guess what? Here's where the issue comes in. The issue comes in is when a woman can earn enough to do for herself what women used to depend on a man to do, then where does a man feel needed? Because, and here, this is the catch. This is where we went wrong. Society told a man that his worth is his net worth. Society told a man that his only value to a woman is the money he makes to provide for the household. Society never told a man that his value to the woman is his love, is his masculine energy, his presence, him being able to lift the couch up, to move it, inch it one side at a time, him being able to take his brain and use it to put together the bed and the dresser, him being taller to reach the stuff on the top cabinet on average, being taller on average, him being able to throw the kids in the air, you know, going out to play football with the son, put on a little pillow on his shoulder and hitting with the son. That the woman, she wouldn't want to do that unless she have to. And this man is so much more valuable than money. But men were never told that. Men were just taught to be hammers and just tried to hammer everything instead of taught to be flexible and to be nuanced and to be everything that we are. And we so one-track minded as men. There was some men that criticized me for saying on an interview I did with Anthony O'Neill, and I said, because of the weight of the world and because of everything I'm going through in my life, when my son come to ask me, hey, Daddy, you want to watch the animal show on Netflix? I really didn't want to do it and that was my true human feeling, like I'm tired. But men in the comments try to act like they ain't never been tired, like they ain't never been drained. Oh, I put my kids before everything. Oh, well, we might be carrying different loads. You don't have my calling. You don't got my purpose. So if I went to work and I worked for somebody and that was monotonous and I ain't like my job, my kids will be an escape. But because of the what God got on me and because of my call in this world like this right now, my heart might be burdened differently. And so don't judge me for sharing a thought. I still got up with a smile and yeah, let's watch that, son. My son didn't see my pain. My son didn't see my struggle. I still went and did that yesterday. My mind always is a mile a minute. Yesterday, my son, Dad, you want to play keep away with a balloon? Then I put together his Nintendo Switch. Hey, Dad, we playing the Switch together, playing Mario. Then we put the animal show on. Why are we doing that? Oldest son, he on the game with his friends. My wife, she meal prepping for the week. And I'm with my 8-year-old. And I'm doing what a parent does. And that does not mean that I'm not thinking about how I'm going to pay these bills this week. That does not mean how I'm thinking about, okay, my mother-in-law rent is going up to $2,200 or $2,100 on the first. My mama rent is $1,900. That's coming up on the first. I got to make sure I have the money in place, move whatever around, and be ready for those bills. Oh, what else coming up? This car note, that car note, that car note. Okay. So that does not stop. But see, what the world has told a man is that we are only worth the money that we bring. So guess what? When such a thing becomes of a boss woman, it makes a lot of men say, I don't want a boss woman. Because what that man is saying is, I want to have value. What that man is saying is, I want to be needed. And what some men are saying, and not knowing that they're saying what some men are saying, but don't know it, is saying, I want to have control in my household. I want to have control over my woman because I will have money and she won't. That's what some men are saying by saying they don't want a boss woman, and they don't realize that's what they're saying. Now, on the pure side of it, what a man is saying when he says he doesn't want a boss woman is he's saying that he is naturally wired to go hunt. And he will be hunting, meaning he will be providing. But the woman is naturally wired to provide for children, meaning her body carried the child. Her body understands the child, feels the child. Her brain has the emotional intelligence on average. Some women are just as cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs as men when it comes to dealing with a crying baby at 2-3 a.m. Some women lose it just like men lose it. On average, men lose it. You have to be very careful letting a man have night duty and get up every 2 hours with that child. You have to be very careful. That's why a lot of this thing is happening with Shaken Baby, and a lot are losing their life because a man who was not wired, who does not have the emotional intelligence, the heart capacity to deal with this crying baby when he is going off for 1 hour sleep A man on 1 hour sleep is different than a woman on 1 hour sleep on average. Yes, there are exceptions to the rule. And I know y'all tired of me saying that because y'all like, Tony, we get it, Tony. Don't just ignore them 2-3 idiots that be just thinking that you talk about every single person when you say something. Yeah, I get it. But I hate to see that the one person be lost and going astray because they missed the message and didn't understand that I'm not talking about every single person when I say something. Y'all forgive me. Just work with me through this video. So now listen, this man, he's not built for that. So what, on the pure side of things, when a man said, I don't want a boss woman, what he's saying is, I don't want a woman who is so addicted to the hustle, so addicted to the grind, that when we have kids, she won't want to stop working. She won't want to be there for our kids. And what you see in a lot of cases, what happens is when a child is born, the woman will get up every 2 hours to feed the child and let the man sleep because the man has to go to work. And most men, including myself, have told our woman, I don't want to get up every 2 hours. I went through that. Well, I was 23 on my first child, and I was 30 on my second child. Still young ages for a man, even though 30, yes, you know, most men have a child by 30, but men, we really take a long time to mature. And my wife reminded me of that. She reminded me of the stupid stuff I said, and I'm embarrassed, ashamed of it. And guess what? I'm here, and I didn't leave my woman. I didn't cheat on my woman and leave her for a jump off or nothing. Like, I'm a quote unquote good man, but still flawed. And that's what I want men and women to understand, that you could be a good person and still have things you need to work on. So my wife, I would be okay with child number 3, but my wife like, absolutely not, because she does the bulk. Like, yeah, I pay the bills. I make sure the baby gonna have everything the baby need. But my wife like, absolutely not, playboy, not doing it, because when the baby come and I got postpartum, I'm dealing with postpartum, and I got to get up every 2 hours, and you snoring, I'm ready to lose my mind, ready to take your life too. And I'm like, listen, I ain't gonna be like that no more now. Come on now. I did that. I ain't do that. Not with the second one. Not with Tater. I ain't do that. Yes, you did. No, I did not. I ain't do that. Yes, you did. And I'm like, no, nah. And listen, this is a human expression and confession. And that's what I'm telling you. So the man who is purely saying he doesn't want a boss woman, that's what he's saying. The man who's saying it purely, he's saying, listen, if working, if hunting, if providing has to be done by one of us, it need to be done by me as the man. If being there for the kids and breastfeeding the kids need to be done by one of us, it need to be done by the woman. If waking up in the middle of the night with gentleness and patience and kindness need to be done between the one of us, it need to be done by the woman. This is what the man is saying. He's saying, listen, I'm not wired like that. I'm not built like that. But if this woman got to go work 40 to 80 hours a week because she is a top executive, she is a boss, and she's not gonna want to take maternity leave, or she's not gonna be able to take maternity leave. Every job, pretty much, I think you allowed to take it. You got to by law, but she's not gonna want to take that because she's so in love with her job, her career, and I, as the man, am in love with my job or career, or might not love it, but addicted to it because it's tied into my self-worth. Because if a man don't work, he don't eat. The Bible says if a man don't provide, he worse than an unbeliever. Y'all Google that. Google that and see what scripture that is. And so that's what the man is saying. He's saying, if between the two of us, I'm more He's saying between the two of us, 1 Timothy 5:8, anyone who does not provide for their relatives and especially for their own household has denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever. That's in the New International Version, King James Version. But if anyone does not provide for his own, and especially for those of his household, he has denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever. That's the King James. Oh no, this is the King James. But if any provide not for his own, and especially for those of his own house, he hath denied the faith and is worse than an infidel. The Bible, the translation say, ain't no way you could slice this. This gonna come off the same in every version. Is basically what this saying. Every version read the same. Do you see what that say? You see what that say? And see, when it say, but if anyone, it's talking about the man back then, because woman in the Bible days, woman ain't had rights in America in the 1900s, in the 20th century. So what kind of rights you think a woman had then? You hear me? Come on now. So that's what that's talking about right there. That in the Bible say that. You hear me? So that's why the men today are saying, listen, I got to work. I got to provide. I'm not finna be sitting down at the house. I gotta work and provide, and that's why I don't want no boss woman if she can't let that job go and let me provide. That's why he's saying that. Now, see, on the flip side, there are women who they say, no, I love my job. I'm an executive. I'm a business owner. I make $1 million or I make 100,000. I love what I do, and I cannot let it go. It makes me feel alive. See, if a woman say it makes me feel alive, it gives me joy. It is what I love. This is my passion. This is me. Then guess what? She's operating from the right place. If a woman says, no, I have to stay on my job because I cannot depend on a man. I'm afraid to not have money. I'm afraid to not have. I'm afraid to, get taken advantage of. I'm afraid to be used. Mistreated and controlled. She's operating from fear. She's operating from her history, from her pain, her last relationship, or what she saw her mom go through. She's operating from that place. So I see women who say, choose your career over a man because your career won't divorce you. And that's not true, because you could get laid off, your industry could change, all that, but that we get it. But a woman is saying that, and the women that I see say that the most, a lot of times they had a mom who was a housewife, and they had a dad who was kind of like a tyrant and treated their mom less than, and the mom didn't have all the stuff she should have been able to have on their level of income, because the dad didn't feel she was worthy of it, and the dad didn't want to spend that because the dad's frugal and he operating from a scarcity mindset, and I got to have this amount of money and save this amount of money. So no, you can't get that Michael Kors, or no, you can't get that Louis Vuitton, which is a much more step up in price, because even though the man could be making high six figures, but say, no, I'm not buying Louis Vuitton because that $1,200 Neverfull or $1,400, $1,600, that's too much. You get that regular purse right there from Marshall's, from Ross, for $20, even though the man could be making $500,000 a year. And so when the daughter see that, she like, my mama is like an indentured servant. My mama like a slave nearby. I ain't doing that. I'm not staying home. I'm finna work and make me some money so I can buy what I want to buy. And then at the same time, a woman could see her father buy her mother everything, but talk to her like trash because he makes all the money. So when a woman sees that, now she's going to say, listen, I'm finna work and I'm gonna always work because a man not gonna talk to me like trash. Bump having all of the designer and all the fancy cars and all of the biggest ring in the city, but being talked to like trash, I'm finna work. So the boss woman has to evaluate and identify where she's operating from. Because imagine like these women, I've been to conferences and stuff, and I'm sitting there and I'm listening to a woman talk, and she is an executive. She is an executive from Google. Imagine asking her to sit down. You know how hard it was to become the VP of diversity and inclusion at Google? It's like, and now you want me to resign to be home with the kid? Are you kidding me? Like, that's a big ask. So then what does the man have to do? The man, he got to say, okay, we'll let the kids not have everything that every other kid has in their community, which is a mom that's at home with them and can come at 10 a.m. to the play and can be to pick them up at 2 o'clock, 2:30. But you working 9 to 5, and you in a meeting at 10 a.m. while our daughter is having her recital in the chapel of the private school that we paying $50,000 a year in Redwood, California, Palo Alto, Orange County. We paying $50,000 a year for our daughter to go to private school, but because you are in a meeting at 10 a.m., you can't go to her recital. And then you also cannot pick her up at 2:30 when she's done with school. So now we got to send her to extended day because you can't get there till 5:30 or 6 o'clock because you're 9 to 5. So now that's what the man's saying. That's what he's feeling. And that's why there's so much tension between the boss woman and the man today. It's just a difference of opinion. It's a difference of preference. So then what the man say, listen, my family mean more to me. So I'm gonna create a job. I'm gonna work remote. I'm gonna work from home because my wife's job, it is an important job. She's a doctor. She does surgery, or she is an executive, or she's a business owner. Her business is booming, or her job is booming. But here, as a man, I can be flexible. I can work remote. I can work from home. So I'll go to the recital. I'll pick up the kids at 1:30, 2:30, and let her do her thing. And some men are able to do that. Some men are able to do that. But guess what? Ooh, the thing hard to talk about. Because boy, look at it. Women don't want to hear this. Women don't want to hear, listen. From the Bible days, if you don't work, if you don't provide for your own, you have denied the faith, and you worse than an unbeliever. 1 Timothy 5:8. So to work has been deeply rooted in a man. To go out and provide has been deeply rooted in a man. So when this man can't do that, he feels like he has lost something. The deep root of working and providing is not in a woman. For it to be deeply rooted in a woman, that woman is an exception to the rule. She is not the average. Because most women want to be able to have a man who can provide so that if she wants to be home with the kids, she could be home with the kids at least for them first 3 to 5 years. And if she say, okay, 7, 8 years old or 7, 8 years, now I could go back to work. The kids are older. The kids pretty much self-sufficient, meaning like they walking, they talking, they fully expressive. Like, okay, I could go back to work. Or my child's not special needs, or my child does not need to be checked out of school for sickness or immunity issues or special needs issues. I could go back to work. So most women want the choice. Some women are forced to work because their man doesn't make enough to provide for a whole household. Like his $50,000 a year is not enough to live comfortable. So she's like, why stay home and live off 50 when I could go to work and we could live off 80 or 100 or 120? Because some women could go to work with their degree or with their skill set and make more than a man right off rip because of his lack of education, or he may have an education, but because of his industry. So if he is a program director or the executive director at a YMCA and that's his passion, that YMCA gonna cap. Even if he running the whole building, they may cap him. They probably gonna cap him around 70K. If they live in San Diego, that's 70K. That 100K, it really ain't gonna do a whole lot in San Diego or New York. Now in 70K in Corpus Christi, Texas, that's gonna do a little more. You know, in Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, it's gonna do a little more. Ohio, but California, New York, that 70, 100K ain't gonna do it as much. So that woman is like, I got to work. If we don't want to be eating sardines out the can, I got to work. And so she's forced to work. But what most women want is a choice, to where she could choose to work and they work it out because they've come together and made a plan, or she could choose to be home with the kids their whole life, or up to 18, or up until a certain point. But that's what most want. And so this is what we got to realize and understand. And this is where this tension comes from. So what I'm saying about this is, for one, as a woman, if you fall into the label of a boss woman, and that's subjective. What I mean is you working, you gotta work, or you wanna work and you working 40 plus. You working 40 plus hours a week and you making, good money that could provide for a household if you had to. Like 50,000 could provide for a household if it had to. You just on a super strict budget. Because if your rent is $1,500, that's already 18,000 right there out of that 50 gone. But it could do it if it had to. And in some places may be able to get government assistance. But a boss woman is typically today a woman who's seen around, I would say, 70K and up. 70K and up and working full time, 40 plus hours. That's seen really as a boss woman. A woman who make under 70K, that's seen more as just like, your everyday woman. Not a disrespectful thing, but meaning this woman is more flexible because she's not earning such a high amount. Like she's earning 30, she's earning 40. So that's an amount that the man could possibly make up in certain states, certain cities. And that's not as intimidating to a man. And when I say intimidating, what I mean is a man, and this is your average man, not your exceptional man, not your exception to the rule, but you have to realize that the programming from society is going out to all men. So for a man to meet a woman who makes 70,000 and feel like she's not going to be able to let that go and be with our kids and let me work and let my income be enough, for him to be intimidated by her, what I mean by that is he's saying, I'm afraid that she's going to be too addicted to this job, too attached to this job. So that's what I mean by intimidated. Not scared of her, not feeling less than her, but intimidated by her in the sense of, is she too hooked on this job to be able to be a stay-at-home mom even for a season? And that is your everyday average man. Now, an exceptional man, this what well, a real man, I know y'all in the comments, y'all reading comments right now, right? A real man is not intimidated by a woman working, and a woman being home should not define a woman. And a woman should not have to be home to be seen as a woman. A woman can do it all. We are capable of doing it all. This is what you read in the comments right now, ain't you? We can do it all. We can work and make six figures, come home, cook, clean, and take care of our kids, then go take care of our man. Yeah, we can do it. Guess what? Ain't nobody doing it. That's cap for the comments. Ain't nobody doing that. Ain't nobody doing that. That is cap for the comments. There is 10 women in the USA who making six figures, coming home, cooking, cleaning, doing homework with the kids, putting them kids down, then going and making love to their husband. There is 10 women in the USA. That is cap for the comments. But the thing about it is women who making 70,000 plus think that they can do that because they single right now. So they think, oh, I could add a husband and 2 kids who both is in 3 sports at one time and cook and then do the dishes and then go make love. I could do that. Yeah, I could do that. That's you delusional. You delusional. Listen, it's hard. My wife don't work an outside job, and it's hard for her to do all of that. It's hard for her to do all that. It literally looked like her taking care of our house, her doing our laundry, and doing the dishes, and cooking. You know, meal prepping, cooking, whatever. That thing take all day long Saturday, all day long Sunday. It's like last night she was doing stuff till 1 a.m. And we got into bed at 1 a.m. And I was sitting there, and I know women always say, well, why don't you go help her? That's not my wife. That's not how she is. I asked her multiple times yesterday, is there anything I can help you with? And she said, no, I got it. But you know why she's saying that? Because she's saying, listen, if you going out and you making 7 figures and you providing a 7-figure lifestyle, she's saying the least I could do is take care of the dishes and the laundry. Like, why would I have you go earn a living and me not work and then you come help me do my work? That's what she's saying. But some women, they want it all. Some women want a man to work, then come home and do half of the housework, even though she's not working. And that's not fair. So it's like, if the man gonna go out and do all the work and do all the providing, then the woman uses the 8 hours that would be given to a job, uses a piece of that. And once you get a system down, you're not gonna need a whole 8 hours, 5 days a week. You'll have a system. So now the house is relatively clean. Things relatively done. But see, what happens is there are a group of women who they want to use them 8 hours, coffee dates, yoga or Pilates, walking around, and then don't work, and then still do a housemaid, do a chef or a laundry person, but don't work. There's a group of women, and that right there is, this is what I was going to say earlier that I got off track. Because a man is wired to work, that although there are women who are the breadwinners and the man is like the homemaker, even if he works, but he just has a more flexible job. But because that woman is the boardroom, like she the hustler, like she the go-getter, like she is that right there, that man, 9 out of 10, and I'm gonna let yours, because you watching this video, and you the breadwinner as a woman, I'm gonna let your man be that 1 out of 10. I'm gonna let your man be the one who has no issue whatsoever with not being able to be the provider, the breadwinner in his household. I'm gonna let your man be that man since you watching this video, because I know I'm gonna hear your mouth in the comments. But listen, that strips something of that man because he wired to provide. So when he has to then be the homemaker and somebody who is not wired to provide, meaning she's capable of providing, but it has never been her role in society, in the world, and even from God. God did not make the woman the provider. He made the man the provider. He made the man the head of the household, the leader of the household. And he made the woman that man's teammate, his support system. And he gave her body different functions. He gave her mind different gifts and strengths. And he gave her a different personality, different physical build. The man has more muscle on average. The man is taller on average. On average, that the God made the man to go out and provide, and the woman to be the manager of the family. And when that is reversed, that man is stripped of something. And let me tell you what happens. A lot of times, when he is at home, he falls into fantasy. I don't have to go, I ain't never went through this, but I don't have to go through it to understand it. Because I understand how I'm wired as a man, and I understand how every man I done met is wired. So I know a man who is a homemaker, he either getting therapy, need therapy, want therapy, or he got something else. That man will have a wife on the computer in Singapore doing nasty stuff for him on video while he at the house. While he at the house homemaking. Men not built like that. A woman not finna do that. A woman not gonna turn to pornography because she's a homemaker. A man finna be at that house with that lotion, this hand sanitizer, with that lotion all day long. All day long. He on that computer. If that woman who is in that boardroom breadwinning find that hidden computer, she gonna throw up all over herself if she find what her husband is into, because his nature has been stripped of him. That's not normal. It's men doing it now. Mostly white men. It's men doing it. But listen, any of us who know a white man, we know how white men get down. Now, a black man. So listen, so ladies, if you a boss lady and you do not want to accept your role with the kids, meaning you produce the milk, you have more of the touch that these children need, and God gave you that intentionally because you carried the child. So God not gonna make a man better with a baby than a woman, because the baby come out of you. But if you say, boop, gonna drop the baby off, I'm going right back to the board office. All right, get on over here, Tom. Take care of your baby. Put your scrap on and put the milk in there and let the baby think she on that right there, or he on that right there. Go ahead, Tom. Get on over here. I'm going back to the boardroom. See you later. That's the life you choose. Guess what? It's 9.9 out of 10. It's some stuff going on at your house while you at work that you will be flabbergasted, shocked, and appalled to find out. You hear me? Now, don't go home flipping over furniture and going crazy and all of that. Believe and trust your husband now. If believe and trust, I ain't saying don't go home and start no fight now. But you might want to look well within. You might want to look well within, and you might want to evaluate your motives. You might want to evaluate where you operate from. You might want to evaluate why you would choose to have a child and put someone who is less equipped with that child instead of you being with that child, so that you could go work when he is capable of working and providing. You might want to evaluate where you operate from and see. And if it's coming from the right place and that's just how it works for y'all, then great. You know, if you took a different route, Like, if my wife went to be a doctor or a surgeon or a business owner and it was like more demanding, it was bigger than what I am doing, like it just takes more, then I could look into that and say, and I could get that. I could understand that and say, okay, yeah, this is my role. This is what I need to do in this season because this is what she's doing over here. That don't mean it's gonna be easy though. That does not mean it's gonna be easy. And it's like my wife, our youngest is 8, so she thinking about going to work, and it's probably feel better like to go do something cool, do this cool job, PR or something like that, than just working with me all the time or working, for me technically, even though we working together as what I call it, but it just could feel weird. And so she might go out to work, and guess what? If she go get a job, I can't sit here and say right now from this seat that I'm not gonna be in my feelings about her giving 40 hours to another man business when them 40 hours could be given to our family, our household, or my business. But that could be a thing where she wants some agency. She wants some independence. She don't want her check to depend on the company that I started. You see what I mean? So even though she was right there with me, it's still my brainchild. And so I want you to understand this and think through this thing and just really see where you fall in this. And I'm telling both sides, and of course I could go longer, and y'all forgive me for not fully explaining on everything. I'm not saying that a woman should not work. I'm not saying that a woman can't work. I'm not saying that a woman isn't capable of doing it all. What I'm describing is the setbacks and the pitfalls and the things that a man is going through and thinking and saying as it relates to the boss woman. And that's why a lot of men today are saying they don't want that boss woman, because they know they need to operate in their gifts and their strengths, and that is hunting, that is providing. And that they want their woman to operate in her gifts and her strengths, and that is being that support, being her, being that woman, that backbone, that the kids, when a child cry, they want their mama 9 out of 10 times. Sometimes they want the daddy if that's the role that's been set in place. But 9 out of 10 times, the child want the mama. My sons, they need something, they go to their mama. They rarely come to me. You know what they come to me for? They come to me for money. And they also go to their mama for money. But my youngest, he come to me for money. And that's because his mama sent him to me. But my oldest, he went to his mama for money last week. And he knows she doesn't work outside the home, but it's because he knows she could say, yeah, okay, I'll do this. He knows that she got that agency, that although I am providing, that it's not just me that can divvy out the money. His mom is not a slave. She can say, yeah, although I didn't go outside of the home and work for this, I still can go into our joint account and send this to your debit card. And so my oldest son, he knows that. And yet they go to her because they see anything they need, that's her gift, that's her strength. They know I'm stressed with you. They know I'm stressed working with you. They know I'm worried about providing. They know I got big bills. They know I really got to be locked in. So they try not to bother daddy too much unless they want to play or they really need me. They try to do that. And their mama kind of set that in place, like, hey, he's shooting a video, don't interrupt him. Or he on a coaching call, or he on a call, or he teaching a class, don't interrupt him. And then so they have that respect. So that because I'm working, that means they got to go to her all the time. So even when I'm not working, they still going to her because that's what they used to. So what I'm describing here is the dynamics that come about with the boss woman and the boss man and them trying to be together. Unless they working together, but even then you still got to divvy up some things in the household, and it can cause some problems. And see, the thing is, a lot of times men aren't expressive. So a woman could be making more money than the man, and she could be doing more business than the man, and she think that everything is cool, and that man dying on the inside because his nature is to be the provider. And it's not that he's insecure, and it's not that he's weak. It's that is his nature, and he feels like he is not living up to his purpose and his potential, and it's hurting him. and he don't know how to say it. So what he does is he turns to drugs, or he turns to prostitutes, or he turns to some other kind of vice to kind of alleviate that pain, to help him stop thinking about that, to help to numb him. And he may be doing that, and the woman don't even know it. And it's not to say that it's the woman's fault, but that's just the reality of the dynamic of the boss woman movement, and women being the breadwinners, and women earning more than men, and women being the provider monetarily in the household. That's some of the I wouldn't say backlash. That's some of the effects of that, and how that's happening. And this is something that per household, it has to really be talked about, and it has to be an open and safe space. And you got to understand genders. You got to understand gender roles that y'all may believe and that y'all may grew up with. And you got to decide for your household, okay, where is this really at, and what really matters here, and be able to work through that. Hey, this is Tony Gaskins. God bless you. Remember, easy to love. I'm going to put the link in the description. Get you a copy. If you can afford it, get you a copy. I want to support these authors who took the Birth Your Book course and went ahead and did the work. I want to support them. And we are tribe. We got to support each other. And the reason I say that is because one day it could be your turn. One day it could be your turn. And if you had it and did not support, when your turn come around, you ain't going to get no support. And then you're going to be asking God, why I ain't getting no support when I sponsored a video for my book? Why I ain't get a sale, even one sale, 10 sales? And it's because you had it and you ain't support. That's just a hard lesson. I ain't trying to force you to get it. I'm just teaching you a life lesson that I had to learn the hard way. Hey, this is Tony Gaskins. God bless you. We'll talk soon.